your starting point can be anywhere on the base as the join stitches gradually moves along. So I kind of start from one side of the curve. You're going to grab your yarn and pull it through the hole. Make a loop and then just do a single crochet. And that's you started on your base. Hold your tail to the sides and you're going to crochet through that, over that as you go to tuck it in. It saves you doing it later. And then you're just going to continue with your single crochets all the way around the wooden base. You want to make them fairly tight, but not too tight, as they will be really difficult to crochet through on your second round. So just keep going and I'll meet you back here. So now you've got to the end of that row. I'm just going to show you the invisible join for this one. You grab your hook, so I'm going to move up to an 8 hook. Just I really like tight stitches because it prevents any little holes appearing. So get your 8 hook and put it through the back and front loop of the very first crochet of that round. Pull a long hook from your working yarn and pull it through the back and front loop. So it'll look like that. That is your loop at the front that you've just created. So you're not going to put the hook through there. Instead, you're going to put it through the V that has been made from that very first crochet. Straight through, yarn over and pull through a loop. Put your second loop back on the hook, yarn over and pull through both of them. And that has created the first stitch of that round. So what you're going to do now is do another waistcoat stitch or single crochet through that same V that you went through. So you have got 2 coming out of the one. You're then going to skip the next stitch and do 2 crochet waistcoat stitches in that V there. So skip 1 and then 2 single crochet or waistcoat stitches through that V. So you'll see there's a little gap there from your missed stitch. So again, you're going to miss the next stitch and then move on to the one after that. I like to pull these fairly tight once I've gone through so that it prevents any little holes appearing. Ignore these holes, these are going to happen, and then when you do the next round they will close up. So again, you've done your 2 stitches through, you're then going to skip 1 and then do 2 waistcoat stitches in the next one. I'll do 1 more, skip 1, and 2 on your way round, and that is your pattern starting to develop. So keep going, and I'll meet you back here. So now you've got to the end of your second row and you've done your 2 waistcoat stitches, you're going to have a stitch that you're going to skip on that row, and then you're going to do an invisible join stitch. This one's a little bit different. So it starts off the same. Put your hook through the back of the front and back loop that you've made from the first stitches of that round. Pull up a loop and pull it through to the back as before. Instead of what you did previously, you are then going to put your crochet hook into the second stitch of that double that you've done in the previous round. So that was the first one, this is the second one. And you're going to go through the V there again, like you'd done previously. Yarn over and pull through a loop. What you are going to do is pull that side of the loop closest to where you've just worked tight, so that it gives it a neater appearance on the inside for the finish. You're then going to put your hook through the loop at the front and in the back, yarn over and crochet through. And again, that is the first stitch of that round. You're then going to repeat the same as before and do your double crochet. Sorry, you're going to do your single crochet twice. And then that is how your pattern starts appearing when you're getting that diagonal line. And then same again as before. So you've done your 2 in that previous stitch. You are then going to skip the first stitch of the previous double and go into the second. Make sure that you're going through the waistcoat stitch part and not just doing a standard single crochet. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through, and same again. And pull down tight. And that is your pattern appearing. Same again, one more time. You are going to skip that first stitch, go into the second, waistcoat style, and do your 2 stitches. And as you can see, you'll still have your holes in between the one that you've skipped, but on the previous round, those holes have closed up. What to do is keep going. The pattern doesn't change now, unless you're wanting to do a colour change. So if you're wanting to do a colour change when you're coming up for the colour change round on round 13, when you get to your last single crochet or waistcoat stitch single crochet, pull up your 2 loops on the hoop, but this is where you're going to change the colour cord. So cut off an end of the colour you're using and grab your colour change one, and again pull out the middle so that it's a bit more neater when you're tucking it in. Replace the loops back on your hook and then yarn over your new colour change and pull it through. What you'll want to do is just pull down on the tails to tighten up the stitch that you've just created there, and then you're going to just carry on as normal and do your invisible join with the colour change. Again, you can bring the tail over and yarn over it while you're doing this so that you don't need to tuck it in later. When you're on the round that you're doing your handle, it really depends on where you start, on how many you're going to count for your handle. But what I tend to do is once I've worked my way round to where I think the middle point is, I just eyeball where it is, as it's going to be different depending on what spot you've started from. So when you get to the last stitch before you start your handle, you're going to count out 8 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And just mark that stitch there, so that's where your handle is going to go back through, and you're going to slip stitch 10 stitches. I do these relatively small stitches just so that you have a kind of nice tight handle. Once you've done your 10, remove your marker or your crochet hook, whatever you've used. You're just going to then do your double waistcoat stitch in the one stitch that you've marked there, which will be the second stitch of that double, as before. And then you've got your handle there. It's up to you if you want to make it smaller or bigger. And then just carry it on around until you get to the other side. So when you've got round to the opposite side for your handle, to make sure you're getting it even, just bring the basket in together and count out your stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and then 8. So that is symmetrically across from the other side. And then just do the same that you did before. So now you've got to the end of your row with your colour change and you're about to go into your slip stitch row. The join is a little bit different. So you start it the same again, put your hook through the front and back loop of that first stitch in that row, grab the working loop and pull it through to the back. Instead of going through those stitches, the loop that you've just created, once you've pulled that through, you're going to go through the middle of it. You are going to then put the loop at the back onto your hook and yarn over and pull through. You are then going to slip stitch all the way around. Until you get to the end, and I'll meet you back there to show you how to do the invisible slip stitch end join. You're going to bring your hook down through the first slip stitch and grab the tail that you've just made and pull it through the top. Then you are going to bring your hook through the last slip stitch of that round and pull it through. And now you've created an invisible slip stitch end. You're then just going to bring that cord tail through to the back, hopefully. And do as you've done before, pull out the middle and then weave the ends in to finish.